Our series on University of Tulsa athletes involved in the Tokyo Olympics continues now. Ben Preisner from track and field joins us now, and he is qualified in the marathon for the country of Canada. His hometown is Milton, Canada, Milton, Ontario, Canada, and he joins us now. And Ben, as we've talked with track and field stars and that sort of thing, most of them are training in altitude, and we understand you're doing that as well.
Yeah, so I've been up in Flagstaff, Arizona for about a week now, and I plan to be here for another 4 or 5 weeks leading up to the marathon in Sapporo. So that's the plan that my coach and I have set out, and it's what I've done in the past for my last marathon. So it seems to work, and I thought we might as well continue the trend.
How excited are you and were you when you qualified for the Olympics? What's that mean to you?
Oh, it's an incredible honor. It was always seemed like a bit of a distant goal in the future, but I just kind of found my niche in the marathon. It seemed to always be that every time I stepped up in distance, things started to click a little bit more. And so hitting the roads and the pretty much the farthest distance you can go in the Olympics, it just seemed to click. And as soon as I hit standard, I was very excited, but it's still a nerve-wracking few months because there's still a decent size of the window for others to qualify as well. So it was a matter of just being confident with my time and happy with what I put out on the day. And yeah, I'm very happy with obviously getting selected with the team. It's a huge honor representing Canada.
So at the end of the marathon race, you did not know whether you had qualified, but you thought you had posted a pretty good time. And then later you found out you qualified?
Correct. Yeah. So the window went until May 31st. So actually pretty late. We only learned couple weeks ago that we were officially nominated, but they had a certain standard that if you hit it, you were within the selection pool. So I knew that my time was very competitive in the country, and it was just a matter of waiting to see how many people or what people run and how many people beat my time. And there's a couple other factors that the national committee were able to consider when selecting the team. But in the end, they were confident that I would be able to represent the country well in the marathon. And I hope I can prove them well.
So how did you find out? A phone call or a text or an email? And what's that feeling like when you can say Ben Preisner, Olympian?
Yeah, it was a phone call from the head coach of the Athletics Canada, and that was a pretty stressful day, I'd say, because I knew that the committee was meeting that day. So I was hoping that we'd figure out one way or the other on that day. So it was a long day. They made me wait pretty much till the right at the end of the day, and then I finally got the phone call. And it was obviously such great news to finish off the week, and really just I was already kind of training for the marathon because it does take quite a long build. So in my mind, I was already training for this race that I hadn't actually qualified for, but it just kind of solidified all the hard work that I put in, and really gave me a mental check and a cue that I can really start focusing all of my effort onto this marathon now and just work on placing as high as I can at the Olympics.
And of course, what's astonishing in our pre-visit before we started this interview was you qualified for the marathon for the country of Canada in your first marathon. You had never run one before you qualified?
No, well, I haven't run an official marathon before I qualified, no, because I was planning on running the London Marathon in April of 2020 when obviously the pandemic hit and everything got canceled. So that was supposed to be my debut. And then it was basically just waiting until I could find another race. And I ended up getting into a very competitive race, actually down in Chandler, Arizona. So that was my debut marathon. And I kind of went into it thinking, especially with all the unknowns of the pandemic and everything and all the events getting canceled, that I just went in with the mindset that this is my one shot. I got to take advantage of it. And very happy that I was able to put it together on the day.
Absolutely. At the University of Tulsa, of course, you weren't running any marathons, but you're running a whole bunch of other races. 10 records when you finished up your career at TU, 10 University of Tulsa track and field records, and 6 American Athletic Conference titles. Tell us about your career and your progression as an athlete at the University of Tulsa.
Yeah, I came in with very lofty goals, and I think Coach Taylor and Coach Gully really saw that in me, and I can't be more grateful for all the support and that they've given me throughout the years, not only at Tulsa but even since I've graduated. It's always great to see a message from Coach Gully and Coach Taylor, and yeah, I mean, my progression throughout university, I was very happy with. I think with every athlete, you're going to be a little not fully content with all of your things because there's always different things that you can nitpick on. But I mean, in terms of representing the school of the University of Tulsa at conference and everything like that, throughout cross country, indoor and outdoor track, I'm super happy that I was able to contribute to the team and just be a part of the team environment. That's really what fostered my love for the sport even more and really drove me into this kind of next phase of my running career now.
And most of your American Athletic Conference titles came in the 3,000 and 5,000 meter areas. So that was a specialty for you when you were at Tulsa, right?
Yeah. So indoor, the longest distances were 3K, 5K. As I kind of said, it always seemed to be that every time I hit the longer distance, I kind of hit a next phase in my career. So the 3K, 5K on the indoor track was definitely my specialty. And then kind of throughout the end of my career at Tulsa, we moved into the 5K, 10K outdoors. And so, yeah, it just kind of always seemed to be the longer distance. It's funny, I got recruited to Tulsa mainly as a steeplechaser, the 3K steeple, because I had some success in high school. But I'm really grateful that the coaches were able to see different progressions for me and push me into different distances and events and disciplines that maybe I wasn't comfortable with at the time, but they really saw the potential in me. And obviously I'm super grateful for that.
How did Steve Gully and Taylor Gully, Coaches Gully, if you will, help you in your career? What did they do to push you?
I mean, just instilling the work ethic, I think, was the main thing, just making sure that we're always on schedule and have the right mindset going into practices, but then also really being able to foster enjoyment within the sport. I think that's one of the main things is obviously the sport of athletics in terms of, the daily grind of getting up every morning and going for a long run and then having to go to school and everything like that. It just all kind of piles on, but I think they were able to really help me gauge my running athletic side and my school academic side really well. And so I think that's one thing that they really taught me was one, instilling that work ethic in me, and two, the time management, and three, just the love of the sport.
Ben, early in your career on one of your bio pages, you wrote the question was, what surprises you about track and field? And you said, there is always another level to reach. And boy, you have played that to a T, haven't you?
That's funny. I don't actually remember saying that. That's a really interesting way. I mean, I always believe in that. I think that is something that every athlete, not only athlete, every person, whether it's in your work career, your academic career, or your athletic career, you always strive for that next level. And so I think that's something that I've always been working at. And yeah, I mean, I've obviously super grateful to be able to make the Olympic team, but I think, I'll be able to learn from this experience and hopefully bring that into my athletic career in the future, but then also, my work career once I'm done with my athletics.
Yeah, your academic career was really good at Tulsa. You have a degree in chemical engineering and a side degree or a minor in environmental engineering as well. So what did that mean to you to get your degree?
Yeah, I mean, I can't ask for a better way to set myself up post athletics. I'm super grateful for the opportunity the University of Tulsa has given me. I really enjoyed the career. I enjoyed all my professors and my classmates. And I think that was a good way of balancing, the mental capacity that I had for running. I think there's something else that I could focus my energy on and kind of take a break from running. And I mean, the degree from the University of Tulsa in terms of the engineering school, I couldn't have been happier with the education that I came out of the university with.
And we understand you do a little bit of consulting or a little bit of side work already using your degree. Is that right?
Yeah. So I've been obviously focusing a lot of my time and energy on the athletic side right now, but I've definitely been trying to focus on building my resume for the future, because obviously you can only run for so long. So I really want to kind of future-proof myself and build my resume up. Yeah, and I'm excited to definitely jump in the field when the time's right.
Well, Ben, Tokyo is approaching fast, so give us a little bit of a timeline. What happens now? You're obviously in northern Arizona, so then what is the timeline for heading to Sapporo?
Yeah, so I'm here in Arizona for about 4 more weeks training at altitude, and then I'll be heading to what they call a holding camp for Athletics Canada in Gifu City for about 2.5 weeks before the race. The marathon is on August 8th in Japan, so I think it's actually the 7th at night in North America. So that's basically what we're gearing up for. I got this kind of block here in Arizona to really just hone in on my workouts, get my nutrition right because it's going to be pretty warm there, and just get my mindset and start visualizing on how I'm going to actually attempt to hit my goals within the race.
Any expectations as to how well you'll do?
Yeah, I mean it's tough to gauge right now. I think these next 4 weeks will be telling just in terms of how the workouts are going. But yeah, I mean, I've got some lofty goals. I think I can really cue off of some current Canadian athletes that are going to be in the race. I've got Cam Levins and Trevor Hoffbauer who are also nominated. So it's great having a full team in the race. And then also looking at previous athletes, like we have had other Canadians like Eric Gillis get 10th place and Reed Coolsack get 20th place. So I can gauge a little bit off that with how previous Canadians have done in the past. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely thought about it, but I don't know if I have a concrete placing in mind at this point.
Well, Ben, I know you'll be proudly carrying the Canadian flag and also the hurricane warning flags with you as you go to Tokyo. So we wish you the best of luck, safe travels, and good luck on the marathon.
Oh, thank you so much. I couldn't be happier with all the support from my past teammates, my coaches, and all the support staff from the University of Tulsa. So super grateful.